Namaskar. Dear friends, I would like to welcome you all on behalf of ETWAJ, English Teacher Welfare Association Jalgaon. This association has organized a series of lecture that is Untold Facts. Myself, Sanjay R. Bari from Mahila Mandal Madhyamik Vidyalay Chopra again welcomes you all in this series. Dear friends, during the COVID 19 pandemic, everyone is living under certain pressure and some worries. So we are too. But as you all are well aware that education is a continuous process and it never stops. Though schools are closed, but we are engrossed. Our all office bearers of ETWAS and executive committee members are always there to support us. They find an opportunity in this problem, and we all gathered here for our CPD. I again welcome you all on behalf of ETWAS. Please have a look on the learning outcomes of this series of lectures, that is Untold Facts. We will get to know something new, innovative, and certainly interesting. By the end of the presentation, teachers will be able to think creatively, teach a language and not a subject, make the teaching more effective, interesting, and fruitful, find some unknown facts about the writer, infer the message behind a humorous situation, identify humor as the central character in the story, note the delineation of characters as types and not as individuals, note the detailing of action in the narration. Please read this quote. Yes, this quote made us to think about the nature. It tells us the importance of openness and mindfulness. Do you know whose quote is this? Here is the person who quoted this. Yes, exactly. He is the eminent contemporary English writer, the nature lover Ruskin Bond. Today, my topic is a story from our course book of Standard 10. The title of the story is The Boy Who Broke the Bank. Ruskin Bond is an Indian legendary author of British descent. He was born on 19th May 1934 in Kasauli in Punjab state in British India. Now Kasauli is in Himachal Pradesh. His mother's side go back 2 or 3 generations back in India itself. His grandfather was soldier. Ruskin Bond's parents were Edith Clark and Aubrey Bond. He has great attachment with his father. From the age of 10, he started living with his stepfather and afterward with his grandmother. Ellen Bond was his sister, whom he loved very much. He studied at Bishop Cotton School in Shimla. Friends, you will be surprised to know that he completed only secondary education and he never went to college. Nowadays, he lives in a town, Landau, which is near Mussoorie. This is the place of scenic beauty, fresh air, pleasant atmosphere. Ruskin Bond lives with adopted family because he is unmarried. This is the famous Landau clock tower, which is at the heart of the town. The interesting thing is Landau Municipal Council decided to dedicate the first floor of this tower to this great writer. Bond's literature, his work, and his awards are going to display there. This is the way to honor the son of the soil. Dear friends, Ruskin Bond is a novelist, story writer, and poet. He is a great nature lover and had passion for trekking. He has lots of love with hills. Except few years of his life, he spent all the time in the hill area, the area of scenic beauty. He wrote 500 plus stories, 50 books for children. He is proudly known as Indian William Wordsworth. He wrote his first short story at the age of 16, the story titled Untouchable, and at the age of 17, he wrote his first novel, The Room on the Roof. For this novel, he won the prestigious prize John Llewellyn Memorial Prize in 1957. This novel revolves around main character Rusty, an orphaned 70-year-old Anglo-Indian boy living in Dehradun. Indian Council for Child Education has recognized his role in the growth of children's literature in India. He was awarded the Sahitya Academy Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grown in Dera. He is the recipient of Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan, and many more honors, awards and prizes are there. Here are his some famous literary work. Ruskin Bond is a reclusive literary genius. He has been an author of plethora of masterly carved novels, stories, essays and poems. His works are replete with the fine humor and witty anecdotes. He weaves remarkably simple tales around the pivot of mundane, everyday life. He is also fascinated with the stories of ghosts. Let's go through his famous works. Rusty, the Boy from Hills, Vagrants in the Valley, A Flight of Pigeon, Landor Days, A Writer's Journal, The Sensualist, The Kashmiri Storyteller, The Blue Umbrella, The Tiger in the Tunnel, Funny Side Up, Maharani, All Roads Lead to Ganga, School Days, Garland of Memories, A Town Called Dehra, The Eyes Have It, Ranji's Wonderful Bat, Delhi is Not Far, The Woman on Platform 8. Many of his stories and novels are adapted by the filmmakers. This way, Ruskin Bond also contributed to Indian film industry. Legendary filmmaker Shyam Benegal adapted his novel A Flight of Pigeon for his film Junoon. Shashi Kapoor, Shabana Azmi, Nasruddin Shah played the major roles in this movie. Parchai is one of the movie which is based on Bond's ghost story. Meenal Khan, Sabrim Hizbani are the star cast of this suspense film. Leading film producer, director Vishal Bhardwaj adapted the novel The Blue Umbrella for his movie of same title. Pankaj Kapoor and Shreya Sharma are in the major role in this movie. Vishal Bhardwaj's one most successful production is Saat Khun Maaf, in which Priyanka Chopra, late Irfan Khan, John Abraham appeared in different mood. This movie is based on Ruskin Bond's Susanna's Seven Husband, a story based on the search of perfect man by a woman. Recently, Bhargav Saikia produced a fantasy genre especially for children in which Tom Alter, Shernaaz are the star cast. The Black Cat, again based on Ruskin Bond's ghost story. Here are some interesting facts about Ruskin Bond. He wanted to be a tap dancer when he was young. His favorite book in childhood is Alice in Wonderland. His work is influenced by life in the hill stations. He is very lazy and gets grumpy when it rains. He stays away from the attention of media. He is very fond of ghost stories. Dear friends, he played a role in a movie Saat Khun Maaf. He believes that an author should be able to write anywhere. He loves to read detective stories, crime fictions, and good biographies. He never went to college and educated himself in a bookshop. When I gone through some interviews of Bond, I came to know he is a versatile person. He loves nature as well as trekking. He has great concern with mankind, nature, literature, and of course for India. One of the interviewer asked him In which direction today mankind is approaching? He answered, somehow you can say that logically that has changed. Living style has changed, but change in the nature of mankind and its inherent characteristics. Once, an interviewer questioned him about his higher education. He batted this question in witty manner and said, I have only self-studied after my high schools. Recently, I got the honorary doctorate from Uttarakhand University. And, and that's not for doing anything, not at least for studies. He made very comprehensive statement about the reading of children in an interview. He said, they read more than they used to, but not as much as they should. Once an interviewer asked him about managing always the funny side up in the life. His comment was remarkable. He clearly mentioned, humor and fun are as essential as air and water, and those who can figure humor in disastrous of moments could only enjoy the life to fullest of the nature. The environment gives you many chances to enjoy, to laugh, and one who would be too unlucky to miss those chances. Again, in one interview, he made the very simple definition of poem, which each one can love. He defines poem as, poems are more natural and come out from the emotional part of the heart. They are nearer to the heart. Again, in one interview, when asked about India, he mentions that in England there is availability of only strangers. Even the person you know are far away. But here in my India, I have felt love in the strangers and unknown faces too. Here is Ruskin Bond's life mantra. He says, life is fleeting, so one should seize the moment and get as much true enjoyment out of living, out of friendship, loving relationship, out of things that give you pleasure, whether it is books or films or any form of mentally stimulating satisfaction. Ruskin Bond depicted his most important moments in his literary work. We may call them volumes of autobiography. First, he mentioned some moments in Scenes from a Writer's Life. Further, he added some more in Lamp is Lit. And finally, in The Lone Fox Dancing, which he himself considered as autobiography, he put all that he wants to tell. This book also won some awards. In the course book of Standard 10, we have a story written by Ruskin Bond. The Boy Who Broke the Bank is the story taken from the collection of short stories of Ruskin Bond. The story is basically about rumor. Then, what is rumor? A currently circulating story or report of uncertain or doubtful truth. Or we can say, information, often a mixture of truth and untruth passed around verbally. Dictionary meaning of rumor is, a rumor is a tall tale of explanations of events circulating from person to person and pertaining to an object, event, or issue in public concern. In social sciences, a rumor involves a form of a statement whose veracity is not quickly or ever confirmed. In this story, Nathu, the sweeper, is a main character. Along with Nathu, there is a washerman, Sitaram, then a bank owner, Seth Govindram, Mrs. Srivastav, Mr. and Mrs. Bhushan, beggar Ganpat, barber Deepchand, photographer Mr. Kamal Kishore, and few more are the characters of this story. We can summarize the story. This story is basically about how rumors and lack of communication can cause many problems and be destructive. The writer, Ruskin portrayed all the characters so nicely that the readers get a live picture of an Indian town under the spell of rumor. The story entertains the reader. Theme of the story: discontent, gossip, appearance, reliance, control, anxiety, panic, and trust. This story is taken from Ruskin Bond's short story collection. Narrator of the story: the third person, an unnamed narrator, and from the beginning of the story, the reader realizes that Bond may exploring the theme of discontent. Nathu is unhappy that he has not been paid by his employers. There is no reason for the delay, however, when he advised Sitaram that he has not been paid, things through gossip quickly begin to go out of control. Mrs. Bhushan is also making assumptions that just because Nathu has not been paid, other employees likewise have not been paid. This may be important as Bond may be highlighting the fact that people can exaggerate things that others are. It is also interesting that others, after hearing that the bank cannot pay its employees, believe that the bank is going to bankrupt, something which causes a state of panic in Pipalnagar. It is important that though none of the rumors about the bank going bankrupt are true, people by word of mouth can cause a panic for a business where once there was control and order. This is no longer the case of the bank. Bond also be explored the theme of appearance. Not only do people have the wrong idea about the bank, but it is noticeable that old Ganpat, the beggar, is suddenly able to walk when he learns the perceived difficulties that the bank is going through. It is as tough the gossip that began with Sitaram and which manifested itself into something greater is believed by all the concerned. Bond may be suggesting that an individual should not have such a heavy reliance on any one institute. To make matters worse, said Govindram is on holiday and unreachable. This only fuels the anxiety that people are feeling. Nobody in Pipalnagar believes the bank manager. They would rather believe the negative hearsay that they have heard in the market than trust the bank manager. The end of the story is also interesting as Nathu's innocent remark to Sitaram about not getting paid is twisted by Sitaram when he meets Nathu the following day. Rather than ignore Sitaram as others too should have done, Nathu is determined to get his money just like the other people in Pipalnagar, all fueled by the gossip of others. It is also interesting that Sitaram is happy when he cycles away from Nathu. The reader aware that he does not have any savings in the bank, something that some readers might find ironic. The demise of the bank began with Sitaram's remark to Mrs. Srivastav, yet he had no savings in the bank to worry about. Information that lacks credibility and which is not fact-checked. The results being total panic in Pipalnagar despite reassurance from the bank manager. The reaction of every other ordinary townsfolk upon hearing the insolvency of the bank adds humor to the text. The barber nicks the ear of his customer who is less perturbed by the pain than the news. The customer yells and runs out of the shop with half of his face still unshaved. Such hysteric reactions add the vivid imagery of the text which is turn makes the narrative humorous. In reality, Bond has highlighted to the reader the importance of trust. The very man who could be trusted, the bank manager, wasn't trusted. Yet those who couldn't be trusted were trusted by those in People Nagar.